welcome back to today's episode. I'm sorry about not posting on Tuesday, and I know I'm 2 days late, but from now on, I will try to post on every Tuesday. But I want to say thank you again for being here and for listening to me. And yeah, today I will be talking about religion and spirituality. To be honest, I find that religion and spirituality are both very interesting topics to talk about because, in my observation, a lot of people from my generation, at least from Gen Z generation, tend to be a bit more spiritual. But people from previous generations, the older generations, tend to be a bit more religious. But I'm not saying that everyone from the Gen Z generation is spiritual, and I'm not saying that people from the older generation are more religious. Everyone is different. But I'm just saying like a generalization, like an observation that I have made and seen. Yeah, but that's what I want to talk about for today. And I find that religion and spirituality are both very connected because they kind of serve the same purpose. Like for spirituality, they serve people who are more spiritual, they serve a higher power or divine power. And people who are more religious, they tend to serve a god or like a leader. Both religions serve someone or something at least. And there's also a clear difference in between the two because religion has more specific guidelines and set of principles to follow, but spirituality is more of an individual journey. It doesn't really have that many rules. It's not as strict as of like a religion, for example, and it follows more of a divine power, like I said. But for religion, it follows like a historical leader. For example, Christianity, it will be Jesus, and yeah. And for spirituality as well, its purpose often serve as like to find a sense of peace and purpose. But religion is not necessarily about peace. Like, yes, there are elements of peace, but it's not really necessarily about peace. But yeah, I can't really say much about spirituality because I'm more of a religious person, I would say, because I'm a Christian and I grew up in the church, and I have always been a Christian. I've always believed in God, and that's just how I was raised. But I do understand a little bit about spirituality because a lot, like I said, people from my generation are a bit more spiritual, and I've seen on social media people that are a bit more spiritual and talk about spirituality a lot. So yeah, that's kind of what I kind of wanted to say. I want to say that I'm a Christian. Like, I know I just told you like a few minutes ago that I'm a Christian, but I want to talk about how my religion is perceived by the world. I feel like a lot of people from my generation tend to be a bit more spiritual because the world tends to look down upon and judge Christians. Because when a small percent of Christians they do something really bad, the world takes upon that and decide to form a judgment based of that. And they decide that the whole Christian community is the same. And I find it so interesting because I feel like a lot of people nowadays they don't really take the time to really get to know our religion, or at least um religions, the different kind of religions in the world, and they decide to form a judgment based on that just because of one small bad percent of the said religion does something bad. Like for example, Christianity. When a small percent of Christian do something really bad, the world takes upon that and they judge us for it. And another reason as to why I think people are being more spiritual is because religion is very strict and it has a set of rules, of guidelines to follow, and it can feel a little bit constricting to other people. And sometimes religion, sorry, can be a little bit um misleading to new people. For example, Christianity. Like I said, I'm a Christian. When people first start to read the Bible, they kind of tend to judge it a little bit because there's a lot of rules, but they look it from a surface level value instead of really getting to know the religion. And not only it's constricting, but it's also because, like I said, Christianity doesn't really have such a good look anymore, and a lot of people kind of tend to disrespect the religion as well. And a lot of people that I've seen online, when they like talk about like their religion, I see a lot of comments or people saying how they shouldn't impose their religion onto others, or they shouldn't really talk about it because being religious is not really seen as a cool trend or as a cool thing anymore. And a lot of people follow spirituality because it's more on the trend, it's more on the modern things to follow. And I'm not saying it to like bash spirituality or anything. And I find spirituality very interesting, but like I said, I'm more of a religious person since I grew up into Christianity, and I empathize and I identify a bit more with that religion than you know. But yeah, that's just kind of what I want to say. I've made that observation, and I feel like a lot of people, like I said, they judge the religion, and they want to follow what's currently trending in the world. And it's not even just about currently trending, but I feel like not only the world bashes and look down upon Christianity or other religions, but it's also because even a lot of celebrities or people that we look up to, they tend to really disrespect religions, the different kind of religions. But like I said, I want to talk specifically more about Christianity. They definitely tend to look down upon it and even kind of mock it, to be honest. Like, I don't want to really get too into it, but a lot of celebrities that I've seen, I feel like the music industry has lost its meaning, and it often mocks um Christianity a lot. And yeah, that's just kind of what I want to say. There's a clear difference between Christianity and spirituality. And on the topic of spirituality, a lot of people who practice spirituality often uses a lot of symbols like crystals, the evil eye, and those kind of things. I don't really want to judge, and I respect people for what they believe in because everyone believes in different things, and I think we should all be open minded. But yeah, that's also one of the things that I want to talk about, like one of the difference between religion and spirituality. Spiritual people uses often more symbols to represent the spirituality, and they often use those symbols as a form of protections against like bad and evil things. But for Christianity, we don't really have that many symbols. We do have the cross for sure, but we don't really use symbols to protect us against evil and bad things. But we often pray and just hope for the best. But yeah, that's just what I want to say. Sorry that I didn't really get too into spirituality because I don't really know much about it. My resources are basically just the people that I have around and the observation that I've seen online. But yeah, that's just what I want to say. But I also want to talk a little bit more about religion because me, as a Christian, I feel that religion has like helped me a lot with knowing who I am as a person, and it helped me like make decisions, to be honest. And it's not even just religion, but spirituality can also help a lot of people make decision, find inner peace. Like I said, spirituality is more about finding inner peace and purpose in life. And one of the differences, I don't think I've really mentioned it, but one of the differences about religion and spirituality is that religion is more of a man-made concept in a way, because Christianity, it's not even just about following uh the religion, but it's more about having a personal relationship with God, and it's also about, you know, trusting and accepting God into your life. And religion has been something kind of man made, because the core concept of any religion is to accept God and follow God. And going back to the topic of how religion is seen as not really trendy anymore, I feel like a lot of people kind of disrespect religion. Like I said, the world kind of tends to look down upon religion because a certain group of that religion decides to do something bad, and the world takes upon that and decides to form a judgment. But I also want to talk about how a lot of people nowadays, they tend to wear religious symbols as like a fashion statement or anything, and it's also seen as a form of disrespect, because you, like, when you think about a religion, you think about something sacred, something that should be respected, but like I said, religion has kind of lost its meaning nowadays, and people don't really think of it much. They don't really respect it anymore. And it's like I said, even celebrities don't respect it anymore. You can see it a lot in Hollywood, in music videos, and all that stuff. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. I think that everyone should follow what they believe in regardless. Personally, I believe in my religion, in Christianity, but if people want to be, like, wants to follow other religions, then so be it, because at the end of the day, I'm just here to give you my thoughts about different topics. And if you want to learn more about Christianity, you can always like send me a message, an email, or anything like that. And yeah, everyone is entitled to their own opinions and their own judgment. And I'm not here to force my beliefs onto people. I'm just here to say what I think. And if you need any advice, or if you just have any question, you can like always email me or send me a message or anything. I'll always be up and free to answer your question. So I just want to say thank you again for listening to me. Sorry that I didn't really say much about spirituality, because I don't really want to talk about something that I don't know very well. I know more about Christianity because, like I say, I was raised and I believe in Christianity. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say again. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for always being there. And I hope to see you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Have a great day and see you.